Good morning, everybody. How are we? Nice and brisk 7 a.m. So today, as you all know, we're going to be covering fasted cardio, ketosis, and the anabolic window. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes while everyone gets on, and then we'll get cracking. If you have any questions that you want me to go over whatsoever, just comment them below, and then I'll answer it, answer it, and we'll get started. All right. Who we got on? Welcome, Josh. How are you, brother? We'll just give it a couple of minutes, guys, and then we'll get really balls deep into this, as Rawdon Dubai would say. Welcome, Matty. How are you, mate? Rightio. We're a minute and a half in, so we might as well start kicking this bad boy off. I'm excited, guys. It's the first live video I've done on this page. I do a heap in my group, but yeah, I'm going to start doing more and more, a couple of times a week on my page. It'll be absolutely epic to have your guys on there. So if you've just joined, comment any questions that you have, anything you want me to go over, anything you want me to answer, and we'll get it sorted. All right, so let's kick it off. We're going to start today with fasted cardio. Now, this is one that's been talked about for years. Everybody thinks that fasted cardio is going to be a game changer for your fat loss. In some instances, yes, it can be. In others, no, it's completely not. There's no one answer for this. So I'm going to start answering these, or all these sections, in terms of just your average person who just wants to lose fat. I'm going to answer them if you're a bodybuilder or an athlete, and then I'm also going to answer them if you've got gut issues. All right, so fasted cardio for a normal person is completely unnecessary. For the general person who just wants to lose a bit of fat, you don't need to do fasted cardio. There have been studies which have shown repeatedly that there is no real difference between doing cardio in the morning completely fasted and then cardio at any time in the day other than that. It really doesn't make terribly much of a difference if you're just a normal person. Now, the reason for this is that the main benefit from doing cardio is the calories that you burn. The calories that you burn are no different to the ones in the morning than the ones if you burn them again in the evening or in the afternoon or whatever other time. It really does not matter. It doesn't matter at all. So if you're just going for general fat loss, do your cardio whenever you like. The pro of doing your cardio in the morning is that when you get up and you do your cardio, you feel awesome. So if you're up at 6 a.m. or whenever your circadian rhythm says it's best for you to wake, then doing your cardio in the morning will help that and you will feel a lot better. So there's definitely a pro there, not for actual fat loss, but an indirect one. If you are struggling to get up in the morning, you already feel like shit, and getting up in the morning is not going to help you anymore. The other pro about doing fasted cardio in the morning is that you're actually likely to do it, because if you wake up and the first thing you've got to do is go do your cardio, that means that you can't, bitch out, pussy out, whatever you want to do at the end of the day when you're feeling tired and you're exhausted. So there's definitely a benefit there for fasted cardio. As for the cons, well, there aren't too many cons to it for a general person. Now, if you're an athlete, you can actually seriously benefit from fasted cardio. I get a lot of my guys to do fasted cardio because I just see far better results doing fasted cardio in the lead up to bodybuilding shows than in just regular cardio. I've trained a lot of guys. I've trained hundreds of bodybuilders and athletes now, and I can say conclusively that there is a definite benefit in that 1% when you're really pushing for a show where fasted cardio will help. The cons of fasted cardio for that group? No, there aren't really terribly many cons whatsoever. So I'd highly recommend, if you're doing bodybuilding or if you're an athlete of some sort, you want to have optimal body composition, go for fasted cardio because it will help. It does that little 1% that that 1% that's the difference between first and second place. Now, is fasted cardio better than normal cardio for somebody with gut issues? No, there's no difference. If you've got gut issues and you are struggling as it is, you're not losing fat, and you've got really stubborn fat, fasted cardio is not going to help you whatsoever. You just need to focus on fixing your gut, doing a little bit of cardio to get your lymphatic system moving, and not worry about the timing whatsoever. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's a brief overview of fasted cardio. Now, ketosis. This is my favorite one. I think a lot of people are going to really, really benefit out of this, because ketosis is something that's getting really heavily pushed these days, particularly for general fat loss. So if you're just looking for fat loss, if you're looking for a few kilos to go down, you're going to see a heap of ads coming up in your Facebook feed saying how ketosis is a life changer for you, how ketosis is going to make you lose more fat and more weight than what you ever will have. Now, there's a reason why when people start doing a keto diet that they lose so much fat so quickly in the first few weeks. And that reason is because when you deplete your carbs and you stop eating as many carbs, you actually undergo diuresis, so you excrete a whole heap of water. You also lose a lot of glycogen. And with that, you can lose 4 to 5 kilos in itself within 1 to 2 weeks just by doing a keto diet. That is it. So it's not you've actually lost fat, it's that you have just excreted weight by other means. You can also lose a substantial amount of muscle in those first couple of weeks. So that's where the main weight is coming from. And that's why people see these crazy weight loss, you see these crazy weight loss stories. Within just 2 weeks, they'll lose 4 to 5 kilos. It's not fat. So if you're a general person, don't get, pushed in to doing a keto diet, because really there aren't actually that many benefits for just somebody, who's just looking for general fat loss to do a keto diet. The thing with a keto diet is that it's really restrictive. So you can't actually eat carbs. So that's like taking most people's diets completely out. There's no carbs whatsoever. The other thing with it is that you also will find that you have substantially poorer brain function for about a period of 2 weeks, and it really sucks. Your social life will suffer. You can't drink alcohol if you drink alcohol, and your performance in the gym will also suffer. You won't be able to lift for as many reps. Your aerobic capacity will actually go down dramatically. So for that, I would not recommend a keto diet. Now, if you are having difficulties with fat loss and you've been dieting for an extended period of time, but nothing seems to be making you budge, then ketosis is a good thing. And the reason why ketosis is good now is because if you've been dieting for a long period of time, you've sorted your macros, you've sorted your calorie deficit, you're exercising well, then it's most likely going to be either an inflammatory issue or a gut issue. And in those two instances, ketosis is the best. Ketosis will massively, massively help reduce any inflammation that you have in your body. It just does. It's fantastic. It also works really, really well for people who have gut issues. So if you have a bad gut, and you're not digesting things well, you're constipated, you've got diarrhea, you've got bloating, you've got things like that, then ketosis is going to be a really good friend to you. The reason being, it removes all the fermentable foods, or the majority of the fermentable foods, which sit in your gut and cause all this gut distress. So if you go on a keto diet, that can dramatically help you in those instances. A keto diet can help with psoriasis, it can help with acne, it can help with joint stiffness, things like that. So going back to what I originally said, if you've had issues for an extended period of time and you just haven't been able to lose fat, then go for a keto diet. However, if you're just looking to lose 5 kilos, 10 kilos, 15 kilos, the keto diet really, really isn't for you. You probably don't need to do that. Now, as for athletes, if you're looking to go into a bodybuilding show, if you're looking to, train at peak performance, I actually wouldn't recommend a keto diet. The reason being is that a keto diet lessens your ability to perform. There is no doubt that when you are running on carbs, you will function a shitload better. Now, I've been an advocate for the keto diet in the past. I've been an advocate, black and blue for it. However, seeing so many people go through it and seeing their lifts actually decrease a lot of the time when they're looking for performance, that's actually not a good thing. You don't want to have an athlete or someone who needs to push extremely hard, needs to get stronger, needs to sprint faster or anything like that doing a keto diet. It just won't work. On top of that, if you're prepping into a bodybuilding show and you're doing a keto diet, it actually can have a slight advantage in that you will have reduced cravings. That is one of the main benefits, or one of the reasons why people like a keto diet, is because you will not get cravings. So if you're on extremely low calories, you're exercising for a long time, being on keto will actually level your blood sugars out. And so you won't have all these peaks and troughs in your energy, and you won't have all these peaks and troughs in cravings. So for that, keto is great. Keto is fantastic for reducing cravings. However, I go back to my original point. If you're looking to perform, or if you're just looking for general fat loss, then keto isn't your friend. Keto is not going to help you. It is not going to be any more beneficial than any other diet. In fact, I would highly recommend having a more general, more equally split macronutrient profile with your diet. So having roughly, 30 to 40% of your daily intake coming from protein, another 30 to 40 from carbs, another 30 or so from fats. So I'd highly recommend, if you're just going for fat loss, stick to the basics. Don't go into ketosis. It can actually make you go backwards, and can make you hate dieting and hate lifting. Now, if you want to get into ketosis and you want to do it, there are certain ways which are good for it and certain ways which are bad. When you are going into ketosis, you have a 3-day period or 3 to 7 day period where you will feel like absolute shit. Now, these 3 to 7 days are not fun whatsoever. Pretty much your body most likely isn't fat adapted, so you don't run off fat terribly well at all. And you really suffer. Your brain suffers, your body suffers, your mood suffers, everything. So you can't think, your memory goes, you get irritable, and your performance in the gym just goes dramatically down. If you want to get into ketosis and you want to avoid this, there are several ways which you can do it. Number one, you can start taking exogenous ketones, and that will, obviously, you're taking ketones, so you will get into ketosis because you'll be running off those ketones and their fuel. But yeah, it will help you feel better over those 3 to 7 days. It won't get you into ketosis any quicker, but it'll make you feel better over those 3 to 7 days. You can deplete your glycogen as quickly as possible. So when you're going into ketosis, you cut all your carbs, you increase your fat intake, you drop your protein down, and then you engage in a heap of exercise. So go for hours each day for the next 3 days, and then bang, you'll be into ketosis really, really quickly. For that, in order to deplete the glycogen as quickly as possible, I actually recommend that you avoid steady state training, and you instead start you doing lots and lots of HIIT, lots and lots of resistance training, and just get your exercise time up as long as possible. Keep everything short, sharp, and make sure that you are focusing on glycogen. So don't go for aerobic exercise, keep it short and sharp, go for HIIT, and go for lifting a heap of heavy weights. Now, that leads me on to the next one, which is all these keto drinks. Everybody loves exogenous ketones these days. So ketones that you can drink, they are pushed as the next big thing. They are pushed to increase fat loss, improve your mood, and they say that they put you into ketosis, which really isn't true. So let's define ketosis. So most people define ketosis as having a certain amount of ketones in your blood. Now, ketones are made from fat, so it's when your body burns its own fat and produces ketones for energy. You can only do this when there's no glucose present. When you consume exogenous ketones, you have shitloads of ketones in your blood. So they're just there all the time. And so people go and pee on these keto sticks, which tell you excuse me, whether you're in ketosis or not. And then they think, oh, okay, sweet. So I've just drank a whole heap of these ketones, I pissed on a stick, and now I'm in ketosis. So now my body is burning fat for fuel. Unfortunately, that's not the case, because just by drinking some ketones doesn't mean that your body starts magically burning its own fat. It just doesn't happen that way. What drinking these exogenous ketones will do is it will mimic the effect of being in ketosis. So if you're in ketosis, you'll often have improved brain function. So you have better memory, better cognitive function. You'll also have far fewer cravings, and you'll have far better energy throughout the day. If you're in comp prep, it can also help push you through those last few weeks where you're low on energy and you're feeling a bit shit, because it's an energy source. Your body will run off it, and it'll run off it really quite well. What it won't do is it won't make you burn any more fat. By drinking ketones and putting energy into your body, because that's what ketones are, they're energy. So drinking ketones, it will not make you lose fat. That is the biggest myth. If anybody tries to tell you that drinking any ketone supplement will cause you to lose weight. They're bullshitting, they're lying, they're absolutely incorrect, because it does not do that. They will not make you lose weight. On top of this, to choose raspberry ketones, if you're using raspberry ketones, they are actually estrogenic. So it can actually make you more likely to store fat, because they will bind to the estrogen receptor or the androgen receptor, and they will cause you to actually gain fat. So it's not a good thing. So if you're taking raspberry ketones right now, stop. They're not worth the money that they're on. Now, as for Ketosis, that's another supplement that's going around, which is a straight ketone thing. I actually used to be really dismissive of them. And then I looked into them a little bit further, and what they're designed to do is they're not there for fat loss. Well, some people push them for fat loss, but they shouldn't be. That's not what they're originally designed for. Ketones are actually remarkable at reducing inflammation within the body. So they dramatically reduce inflammation. So your joints will be better. You know, you won't get the sniffles. You won't get psoriasis, acne, all those things that I've already listed. And so they're absolutely fantastic for that. And so if you're taking exogenous ketones like Ketosis for that, then yeah, fantastic. They have a place, definitely. They will make you feel better, and they will have all those positive effects. It can also, in some instances, although I haven't really seen it, allegedly improve digestive function. So for fat loss, don't bother with exogenous ketones. Wouldn't bother whatsoever. For cognitive function and reducing a small amount of inflammation to a small degree, then yes, definitely go for exogenous ketones. If you're looking to get into ketosis and you're looking for a fuel source which isn't going to take you out of ketosis, then yes, once again, go for exogenous ketones. But whatever you do, do not go for raspberry ketones. They've been pushed for the last few years. They're absolute bullshit. And the studies, all the science behind them is absolutely terrible. All right? So guys, if you have any more questions on that, put them below. Now, Fred has just asked, how about simply using a glucose blocker for fat loss? Fred, that's actually a good question. I haven't done a whole heap of research into using glucose blockers. And to be honest, I'm not completely familiar on how they work. To my mind, just don't eat fucking glucose. Don't eat carbs. If you want to get into ketosis, that is, don't eat carbs. If you want to reduce, I can't see how a glucose blocker would work, because in the end of the day, you're putting energy into your body, so your body's going to store it in some way or expend it, one of the two. So I look, mate, that's a long-winded answer for I don't really know. But to be perfectly honest, when you start messing with your body in ways like that, there's always a side effect. Whenever you put in a drug which dramatically alters your body, there is always a negative side effect. So, for example, for using fat blockers, for using blockers with things which stop you from taking in fat, it actually dramatically impacts your gut. So it has a huge negative impact on your gut. And when you stop taking the fat blockers, you'll actually gain a shitload of fat afterwards. So unless you're willing to put up with diarrhea and steatorrhea for the rest of your life and take fat blockers, I wouldn't do it. All right. So the same thing probably goes for glucose blockers. I'll look into it for you, mate. But my general advice would be avoid anything like that. Diet a little bit harder. Find a proper diet which is going to suit you and minimize your cravings, or for whatever reason why you feel you need carbs. Now, Casey's just asked, can you do keto with an imbalance of gut bacteria? Like, yeah, definitely you can. Ketosis is actually great for that. Ketosis has been shown to help or assist with rebalancing gut bacteria. So making sure that your levels are all in line. So with your gut, you need to have certain high proportions of some bacteria, like the lactobacteria and bifidobacteria, and ketosis has been shown to help with that. And it's also been shown to reduce some of the nastier pathogens. So yeah, Casey, definitely. If for gut issues, 100%, you need to. You don't need to, but you can definitely use ketosis to help with that. The problem with most people who are having gut issues is that it's actually a stress-related thing, and by going into ketosis, you can actually worsen that. You can become more stressed when you go into ketosis because of the restrictive nature of the diet. So there are a whole heap of factors to that. But yeah, definitely. Now, if you have candida and you're suffering from candida overgrowth, apparently, allegedly, ketosis can actually cause candida to thrive, and that's because candida function very, very well off ketones. So if you have candida, I'd actually recommend steering clear of complete ketosis. A small amount's okay, but not complete ketosis. All right, so let's get on to the last thing that I wanted to cover before we go into some Q&As, and that is the anabolic window. So this anabolic window refers to when people say that there is a period post-workout when you are more likely to gain muscle and lose fat if you eat certain nutrients. Now, I have been a believer in the anabolic window since day one, and science is completely against me. Science says that there is literally no such thing. There are only a handful of small studies which haven't been repeated, which say that the anabolic window is a thing, and it's actually correct. The first one was done by a bloke called D.H. Kiefer, and he focused on carb backloading, so the timing of carbs around your workout and post-workout. He showed that timing of carbs within a specific window enhanced fat loss and muscle gain in bodybuilders. So I actually did a genuine study on this. Now, there have since been a whole heap of studies afterwards which have focused on more general populations and have showed that there is literally no difference in your carb timing throughout the day. Now, if you're just looking for general fat loss, to a degree, from what I've seen, to a degree, I completely agree with this. You can really, it's more about that there's no optimal time for everybody. For just general fat loss, there is no optimal time for everybody to have their carbs, all their fats, all their protein. It doesn't really matter. What the most optimal thing to do, though, is to find out what works for you and what suits your lifestyle. The thing with your energy and particularly your carbs, so the thing with your carb intake is that it dramatically affects your mind. It affects your mood. So a lot of people, when they have carbs, they'll feel really lethargic, really sleepy, and they'll lose motivation. So for these people, it's actually less anabolic to have your carbs before your workout, because you'll go into your workout feeling really sluggish and you won't be able to train properly. That is when you're better to move your carbs to the peri-workout window or the post-workout window after you've trained, so that when you eat your carbs, you go straight back into rest and digest, you chill out, you can go to sleep, you can relax, and you allow your body to heal. So that is one instance in the general population where you should take note of the anabolic window, but not for its anabolic properties of muscle gain and fat loss, but for its actual properties on performance. If, on the other hand, you feel shit without your carbs, that's when you have your carbs before your workout. You have them in the morning, you have them throughout the day. It really doesn't matter. Now, a lot of my clients, I preach carb backloading. The reason for this is because I find that carb backloading gets results second to none, by any means. The reason for this is that most people eventually, after the first week, begin to have improved brain function. They feel a heap better, they think a heap clearer, and they sleep a shitload better. So they sleep 10 times better. They'll go from sleeping 6 hours a night to sleeping 8 to 8.5 hours a night straight, not waking up whatsoever. Carb backloading in that instance can be fantastic. But I'll go back onto the anabolic window, because I know I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here. So the anabolic window, as I said, it refers to taking nutrients, particularly your protein, fats, and carbs, around your workout at strategic times. People also introduce into this taking high GI carbs at certain times. Now, for the general person, this window doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter a whole heap. However, I like to train all of my guys to get optimal results and get the best results, and I definitely see better results timing my nutrients around my workouts. I just do. Science is against me. I admit it completely. But I will take my results over something that some bloke's done in the study, which is completely unrelated to me, any day of the week. It's crazy the difference that I see. So if you're a bodybuilder, if you're an athlete, I 100% recommend making the most of intra or pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition. You see a lot of guys throughout the industry in bodybuilding will utilize carb timing. So, for example, John Meadows, he uses pre-workout carbs. He shuttles a heap of carbs, particularly pre and intra. And you look at the bloke, he's got the best condition ever. And you see that the athletes that he trains, they all come in extremely, extremely good nick. So for that, I'd say if you are bodybuilding, definitely take note of the anabolic window and take note of your carb timing, your protein timing around workouts. If you're looking to get shitloads bigger, leaner, and stronger, I highly recommend utilizing amino acids around your workout and through and out your workout, because number one, I notice on myself, all my clients, and all the guys I associate with, that when we take amino acids, we perform longer, we recover better, we grow faster, and we stay leaner. Okay? As for performing longer around your workout, my mate Abdel and I were discussing this the other day. One of the reasons why, if you take amino acids through your workout, particularly BCAAs, you'll perform better. The reason for that is because the BCAAs actually increase the level of dopamine in your brain, and they block the level of serotonin, or they block serotonin coming into your brain, or being synthesized in your brain. So when you have higher levels of dopamine, you have higher motivation, you have a higher drive, and you are less prone to fatigue. When your serotonin levels come up, that means that you become instantly fatigued, you lose your drive, and you feel like it's time to rest. And now it's a normal response to training. As your workout goes on, your dopamine levels decrease and your serotonin levels increase. What BCAAs do is they actually negate, or they blunt this response, and they keep your dopamine levels up here and your serotonin levels down here. And so they're really, really effective for that. So if you're training with me, that's why I give you BCAAs, because my workouts are fucked up. They're huge, they're big, they're tiresome, they're challenging, and they make you grow. So that's why you need to have BCAAs and EAAs throughout your workout. Okay? As for your carbs, I prefer to have my carbs immediately after or intra workout, and I like to keep them high GI. Now, the reason for this isn't necessarily because of the potential gain in muscle, but it's actually for your digestive system. It is much easier to keep high GI carbs or digest high GI carbs than what it is to digest low GI carbs after a workout. When you are in fight or flight during your workouts, you switch from rest and digest to fight or flight, and you go. This takes all the blood away from your digestive system, so it doesn't move as well as what it normally would. And when your digestive system isn't moving as well, your stomach doesn't secrete the same amount of HCl. Your enzyme, your pancreas isn't producing the same amount of enzymes. And you are not ready to digest harder to digest foods such as complex carbs, or anything with fiber and anything with starch and stuff like that. What you are good at digesting, though, is pure glucose and dextrose, things like literally pure glucose. That's what you can digest, and that is what will make you recover faster. So if you are having issues around your workout with digesting your food, wait a couple of hours, and instead, in that anabolic window, pump a whole heap of high GI carbs in and a whole heap of BCAAs and amino acids, because you'll digest them very, very easily. Okay? So to surmise what I've just gone over and said there, because I know there's a whole heap of information, if you are a regular person on a regular level training plan, so you're not training with me, you just got a normal training plan that's, moderate intensity, then there's no real need for you to time your carbs throughout your day or to adhere to the anabolic window. There is no real difference whatsoever. The studies will show that, and even I will vouch for that. If you're just regular, if you're just doing a normal workout plan, if you're not exerting yourself to the nth degree, and you don't want, optimal results, huge results, life-changing results, then yeah, that's fine. If you're training on my plans, carb timing is essential, because we match your carb timing, your anabolic window to your training plans. And then on top of that, there are all these other benefits, such as the reduction in serotonin, the increase in dopamine, and the effects on the digestive system. If you're a bodybuilder or a really serious athlete, then same goes as if you're training with me. If you're a bodybuilder or serious athlete, I think that it is you'll be silly to miss out on a potential opportunity, even if it doesn't exist, to have the anabolic window. It doesn't cost you anything to time your nutrients to that window. It doesn't cost you anything to maximize your results, or potentially maximize your results. And it doesn't cost you anything to work with your digestive system, work with your neurotransmitters. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend that if you're a bodybuilder or an athlete, you adhere to the anabolic window in the face of science, in the face of what a lot of gurus say. I think that for me, it's a no-brainer. Guys, that's all I've got for this Q&A now. I'm going to go over a few questions, some of which we got last night, and I'm going to go through and answer them. So if you guys want anything else answered from me, comment them below, and I'll go through. And ask me anything you want. Doesn't have to be related to today's chat, and I'll help you out and answer on this live. So Chris has asked me yesterday, in a fasted state, is it best to do cardio or weights? That's a really good question. I probably should have covered this in the throughout this video. I'll answer that in two bits. So to start with, doing weights fasted will not make you lose muscle. That is a huge myth. It doesn't happen. I train fast in the lead up to all my shows, and I grow into every single show in a calorie deficit, which allegedly you can't do. You will not lose muscle by doing weights fasted. So there's no negative to that. However, at the same time, I don't feel there's any benefit for fat loss either. I don't see a whole heap of difference whether I train fasted or not. The main benefit, however, of training your weights fasted is that you are completely in fight or flight. When you're fasted, you don't have any food in your stomach and you can switch straight away into fight or flight, and you'll actually be a lot stronger. So if you wake up, bang, 20 minutes later, you're in the gym and you're lifting, I feel you'll actually perform substantially better. So Chris has said, yeah, what's better, doing fasted weights or fasted cardio? Why don't you have both? Do both. Do your weights, then do your cardio straight after. You won't lose any fat, so you won't lose any muscle. There's no real difference. You can do either. Mate, to be perfectly honest, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I feel better training fasted on weights, but I also like doing fasted cardio because I feel it goes quicker. My brain isn't, going with all the things I thought out through the day, so I prefer to do fasted cardio. You can do both. You can do one or the other. Really, it doesn't matter. Play around. Try it for yourself. Now, Chris has also said, I'm currently in ketosis. Is ketosis something that I can be in long term, or is it always good to introduce refeeds with carbohydrates even though I'm in ketosis? Now, as far as refeeds in ketosis go, you've got to remember that every time you refeed, you take yourself out of ketosis for 3 to 5 days every single time. Unless you're a freak or you're used to doing ketosis like I am, you'll be out of ketosis for 3 to 5 days. So that means that for those 3 to 5 days where you're having a low protein, high fat, low carb diet and you're not running off fat particularly well, you'll be churning through glucose. So your glucose is going to come from amino acids and meeting your muscle via a process called gluconeogenesis. All right? So that means you're burning muscle for 3 to 5 days every time you refeed. Now, I actually would advise periodic refeeding, small refeeds, perhaps once every 2 weeks or so. The reason being, for body composition, for performance, it's a lot better, or I find anyway. However, there are a lot of guys in the world who run off ketosis completely. So there is no reason why you ever have to go back to eating carbs. Your body, you don't need carbs. Carbs are purely an energy macronutrient. You don't need them for anything other than energy. Fat and protein are essential for a whole heap of functions throughout the body. But carbs, you don't need them. You can make your own. You can make your own energy from other food sources. So to answer that question, no, you don't need to come out of ketosis and refeed. In fact, if you're just looking to use ketosis for improved brain function over a long period of time, and you can withstand the mental effects of how draining it can be and how restrictive it can be, then yeah, 100%. Stay in ketosis forever if you like. Now, Fred has just asked, are there any harm in taking rhodiola, bioperine, DMAE, and tyrosine altogether? No, there are none. So guys, for those of you who aren't as well versed in nootropics as what Fred is, because he's pretty switched on, rhodiola is an adaptogen which is meant to reduce stress and reduce cortisol. Bioperine is like an extract from black pepper, and what it does is it reduces this enzyme called CP450. And this enzyme, it stops things being effective, or entering the cell and being effective. So stuff like curcumin allows curcumin to get into the cell. DMAE, that's another cognitive enhancer, and tyrosine also is a cognitive enhancer. So they boost up dopamine. So there's no harm in taking them all together. However, with bioperine, I actually don't advise taking it. I really don't advise taking it. Now, the reason being, we go back to that CP450 thing. CP450 is pretty much like a detoxification enzyme. It kills off anything that it feels shouldn't be there. And every time you take bioperine, it blocks this. And when you block it, that means that stuff that shouldn't be going into your body and shouldn't be getting absorbed is getting absorbed and is going into your body. So I actually don't recommend taking bioperine. And now Fred's also asked, if your adrenals are shot, is overtraining really a concern? I don't know what you mean by that, man. If your adrenals are shot, you're going to feel like pretty shit anyway. And let's go back a step as well. It's not your adrenals that are shot, it's your stress level that's shot. So your adrenal gland, guys, one of my biggest, most hated things ever is the idea of adrenal fatigue. It's bullshit. Adrenal fatigue, your adrenals don't get fucking tired. They're not like you and I. It's not like they run a marathon, they get exhausted and like, fuck James, I'm really tired. I can't go on. I'm going to stop outputting adrenaline and cortisol. It doesn't happen like that. Your adrenals don't stop working. They just don't stop working. It's your stress in your body. It's the stress you are putting on yourself. You need to remove that stress. So if you're excessively stressed, then yes, you need to reduce your training load. You need to dramatically reduce your training load. And when we're talking about stress, I talk about the 5 factors of stress. So the stress is like emotional stress, your mental stress, your training stress, your digestive stress, and your physical stress. Okay? So all those 5 factors. You need to balance them all throughout. So if you're feeling like your adrenals are shot, you've got to find out which one of those 5 stresses is what's killing you. Which one is it? And you've got to bring it back down. If it's 3 of them, you've got to bring it back down, because otherwise you're never going to be able to increase your training stress or you increase your training amount, because you'll just be so overstressed. Okay? I hope that helps, Fred. That's a bit of a rant in there as well. Guys, if you have any other questions, check them up. I'm just going to keep sipping on my tea while you post away. Hey Pierre, how are you, brother? It's good to hear from you, mate. All right. So Linda from Instagram has said, what do I think of the keto drinks like Keto OS? Apparently gets you into ketosis in 1 hour. So I'll just go over that again. Really good question, man. We did kind of answer it before. But yeah, so I think drinks like Keto OS, they're actually good if you use them correctly. As I said before, they're not going to make you leaner, they're not going to make you lose fat, but they can actually reduce inflammation. So the studies say they can reduce inflammation, they can improve digestive health, and they can improve your brain function. Now, as far as getting you into ketosis within 1 hour, that's bullshit. No, it doesn't happen. Once again, you're drinking exogenous ketones and getting you into, that means that when you piss on a stick and it says that you're in ketosis, that it's just because you're drinking these ketones and they're going straight through you and you're peeing them out. That's why it says you're in ketosis. Your body fat, your fat, you yourself are not burning, you're not burning fat for fuel. It's not happening. It doesn't happen within 1 hour. Yes, you'll have elevated levels of ketones in your blood. Yes, you'll have elevated levels of ketones in your urine, but they're not your ketones. They're the ketones you bought and you just drank and you just pissed out. Okay? So that's how it works. It is not getting you into ketosis. So it's not like, you can eat a high carb diet, having 500 grams of carbs a day, drink 1 shake a day, and then bang, you're in ketosis. No, your body is still going to run off the glycogen that's there for fuel, just as soon as it's pissed out those ketones. All right? Fred's just asked again, cardio in a fasted state, does it produce better results? Fred, for advanced guys, yes. I would recommend cardio in a fasted state, just because why not? But if you just every day just want to lose fat, then no, it doesn't really matter, man. To be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't really be too concerned. All right, guys. Well, if that's it, we've been going for 40 minutes. I might call it a day from there. But thank you very much to everyone who jumped on board. It's been awesome doing this first live Q&A. We're going to be pumping out a shitload more of them. So if you have any questions, or if you miss this, if you come later and you miss this, post up as many questions as you want, and I'll go through absolutely everything that you ask next time. All right? So guys, stay tuned. I'll be posting up again really soon about the next live session, which is going to go on, and we'll crack onto something else that helps bust a few myths of the industry and actually has an open perspective. All right, guys, enjoy. Thank you very much for coming.